Okay, sorry, we got into the weeds a bit, and I think it's not necessary. Oh, you're muted.
Uh, hey, sorry, thanks. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
How's everything
So
going?
I'm working on a small contract, still looking for work, have possibility of an interview somewhere, but let's see. So that's one thing. I'm working still on making a kind of generic frame thing for Postgres that I can use for frame representation, but that's been a bit on hold as I said, contracts. Plus, I've spent more time on SenseCraft lately, more defining indicators and stuff like that, more project definition. Uh, I've started using Anytype a lot for my work with others, which is
What's anytime?
it's it's a Romish. Uh,
Okay,
I like it a lot because it allows creating type nodes with
hmm,
special fields, which
that's
is
cool.
not a Rome characteristic, and it's very good at multiple users. So right now it's my tool of choice, except if you're not paying, um, you need to well, either you need to pay or you need to host your own server, which I did, which means it's a bit harder to see my work because it's on my own private server. So you have to have the invite and the setup and the blah, blah, blah. So it makes it more complicated for others to see what I'm doing, which is annoying because I like to work in the open, but it's the best collaborative tool I found for stocks so far.
For what?
For stocks as opposed to flow. Like chat, sure, I can use Element, I can use anything for chat, like Slack like. But if you
Mhm.
want to build a structure, any type, collaborate on a structure, I find Anytype's the best I found so far.
What is the phrase you're using? Stocks?
We often speak about stocks versus flow. Uh,
Oh, who's we?
Me and Jack, but I'm sure I've
Okay.
spoken about it in this
No,
setup.
no, well,
Uh,
yeah, that okay, it's interesting. So stocks versus flow. Okay, yeah, can you explain it?
yeah,
I mean, I
absolutely.
kind of get it, but
It's well, a lot of people use tools like um, Slack or even email, where you have a flow of conversation, and then
yeah, that
ideas
makes
can
sense.
be anywhere in the flow, and if you need to find it again, you have to search or whatever.
Right.
And the idea is to use that to build a stock of knowledge, something that
Oh, okay,
is
like a store, a stock. Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
something that's approachable, coherent, curated, yada yada yada. And you need
Hmm.
both because
Right,
curation is, you know, people go from informal to formal, and you cannot be formal at the outset. So you need the flow
right,
to be able to be informal, but you need the stock to formalize it into.
right.
And and for me, that's a basic division of tools. Like document writing is a stock,
Hmm.
but not every free-form document is not always the best way to, or even non-free-form document is not always the best way to think. You need to intertwingle a bit, and there's
Right.
Rome issues are better. uh,
Hmm.
Rome, Notion, Obsidian, these Logseq, all these kinds of tools.
Hmm.
Uh, Tana was one of the big ones. That's really nice. And right now, I've settled on Anytype as my favorite um, Rome-like or Romish tool. It's
Cool.
There's
What is
others.
it? What did it use for its kind of local first approach? Do you know? Because I've been
Um, it's
working look
really
uh,
event based. Uh,
event based. Okay.
and it has a sync server that shares the events, and then it's
Hmm.
CRDT-ish on your computer. So there is a local store on any of your devices.
Hmm.
And but if you have multi-user, the multi-users can have very real-time collaboration thanks to the event base.
Okay. Well, yeah, because I've been looking at auto merge some.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's great.
yeah. I could share what I worked on for the past few months. How does
Cool.
that sound?
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Um, Let me see. It's I've been busy with work, so I haven't. looked at it in like 2 weeks. Let me share. Oh, I might have to shut the Zoom because it doesn't have access to my screen.
I'll stay this time, so we'll have a
Okay, all
continuous
right. I'll
recording.
be back in just a second.
Sure.
Okay, so if I share is it showing up?
Yeah.
A lot of permission windows popping up. Okay. This version is active. This is the dev version. I don't even know if the dev server is running. Let me
Oh,
install
nice.
the let me install
Really
the
nice.
thank you. Let me install the one from the App Store just because I don't it wouldn't take me very long, but sophistry. I'll remove it and then add it again. I had some bugs I worked out in the last month or so, so hopefully those are fixed. And that, okay. So it's a Chrome extension. I think I might have shown this before. What's new is it's so I'm using auto merge for the local first storage. So it's actually shoot, I should probably open one that's already oh, it's gonna take me forever to find that. Maybe it was a bad idea to switch. Uh, let me see. Do I have one that's sorry, I just didn't prepare very well for today. Thought I saved some of these somewhere. So I still, well, I'll just create a new one, I guess. So start with the new map. And what's cool about this, so I guess just as like just to make sure we're on the same page. So I'm still kind of working from the proposition justification excerpt sort of approach.
Mhm.
So you know, like these two things, the idea is that they prove this thing. The layout's not great. I don't love it, but it's I I've been trying to balance getting the layout to be uh perfect versus actually just getting some other functionality working, but it seems to be working good enough. Um well, I mean you fact checking is sort of a tedious process. It's probably boring to watch, but I mean, let's assume I was trying to, you know, fact check this. It's like, let's say this is proving something, you know, you drag it over here to show the uh that it, you know, shows support. If you want to like counter it, you drag the proposition over to counter it. I really need to record a video to do a good job of like, hey, this is an actual motivated example instead of just new proposition 1, 2, 3. Um,
Yes, videos are important. I agree.
yeah, like let's look at OpenAI's one here. Well, another thing that's cool is I have PDF support. Um, so like, what is what do they say that we might want to? This is silly, but I don't even want to fact check that one. Um,
America believes in innovation. It used to.
yeah, so let's leave that one there. I mean, that's kind of true. It's also kind of opinion based.
Let's shutter down all science,
Do you
all
see anything on
research.
here? Do you see anything you want to like fact check?
Um, True concept in building democratic AI shared by the values the US has always stood for. Again, Free and fair competition. The US has always stood for free and fair competition that drives innovation. Again, provably false recently.
Oh wait, which one's provably false?
The values the US has always stood for, including free and fair competition that drives innovation. The first point.
Okay, so like this one.
Yeah.
All right, so it says uh, the US has always stood for free and fair competition, driving innovation. Okay, so drag the proposition onto the um, excerpt makes an appearance. And then
Okay.
where would we search to find that to disprove that? Like TikTok?
It may be
Hmm?
it may be in another document. Yes. You want me
Yeah.
to find
Well, just like
documents
we're,
for
or like a Google search or anything, yeah. Or if you want to send it to me over
there's
chat.
a latest Lena Khan article that just came out. That's quite beautiful. Let
How
me
do you
find
spell
it.
Lena Can? Okay, yeah, if you can find it.
I'll find it
Well,
easily. Yes.
now if you
And
want to, you could install this and we could do this together if you want. Do you want to install the sophistry extension in Chrome? It's
oh, that
open
sounds
source, and I promise I didn't do anything other than build it from the source.
sounds good to me.
It does
Google
have
Chrome
like permissions that ask for access to all tabs, but that's because I want people to be able to highlight things on any tab.
sounds
And
great.
also,
Sounds
it's
great.
it's local first, so anything you do stays on your
Oh, but if
computer
it's local first, we can't
unless you
both
sync
work.
with me. Well, we can. So
Ah,
what I'll do is I'll sync remotely. Okay, so now this map just got copied over to sync remotely. And what I can do is when you get it installed, I copy the document ID and I'll
okay.
send it to you.
It's installed.
Oh, cool. So if you
I,
copy that document ID, and if you go in your extension and go to open map, and then at the top, there's this text field for sync document ID. If you paste it there, it should, I mean, this is a
let me try.
live.
Where is sophistry? Yes. So I see import. Is that it?
Not sorry, those are there's too many options there. It's open map, and then you have
Okay.
to put it in this field up here, and then click open.
I did not get the field, which is a problem. I may have
You
to
didn't get the
reinstall.
field?
Yeah, let me show you. Let me show you my screen now. I
Sure.
think
Yeah.
it's the best way to do this. We're in Zoom. I don't know if we can both share yet. Well, I have to take over, which is
Sure. Yeah.
entirely justified. No, that's not what I'm looking on. This is what I'm looking on. So I had this
Yeah.
open map.
Yeah.
Oh, and now I
Yeah.
had
There it
it,
is.
but
It might
I
have
had
been
a
like a.
blank.
It might have been an
I ha
update. Okay.
okay.
You got it. All right. So hold on. So I'm going to put something here. Hey, you saw it, huh? Look,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
saw it.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
zooming is
yeah.
annoying. You have to use the like option scroll. All right. So I'm going to get rid of that because we don't want it. So if you,
Uh,
yeah, I'll wait for you.
one second. Lena Khan has been saying. Uh, yes.
So yeah, select the text, right click, and then add to sophistry. It'll throw that text over there. And if you wanted to like disprove that, just drag the excerpt to the
Oops.
proposition. Sorry, the UI's, yeah, drag it there. You can let go. And now if you want to be opposing, you click on the arrow, the justification arrow would be up above, and then just change it to a negative.
Uh,
Below in the entity editor.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So this has been the first collaborative.
Collaborative sophistry argument. Excellent.
Yeah. Now, if you look over on the left, oh, somehow it got more text somehow than it was supposed to. I might have to look into that. So I see two things going on. One, it seems like it highlighted more text than it was supposed
And if I
to.
want to make this into a proposition, add
Um,
proposition, is
yeah,
that
so there's
going
not
to represent? Oh,
if
it's a new
you
one.
if you drag the proposition now over to the text, that means that this excerpt appears at that. So the excerpt stays there because you're already using it as a justification. It's actually already been dragged to that. That's what the little if you look at the little target sign, that means that
Ah,
that proposition has an appearance. And now if you click, if you go, it should just highlight it on the page. Now
okay.
if
Let me
you
first
yeah, below,
go ahead.
sorry, you can't edit there. You have to go into the edit, the in the
Ah, I
middle, the
can make the
entity
proposition, the,
editor.
the excerpt less visible. Ah, okay,
You
hidden.
can, yeah. Yeah, so now basically yep.
But then I have to redo the opposition.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, that didn't automatically. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, that's and I should rename this.
Now you
Where's my
can't do
rename?
it from there. I need to change that. That it's in the center.
Ah, it's
See that
here.
that purple or no, it's in the center. The purple box. It's like there's
Oh,
three. Yeah,
oh, I
that's it.
see, I see, I see. Oh,
It
yeah,
go it
that's
goes
it.
it
I
goes.
did not think of that.
Yeah. No, this is really
Use
helpful. I'm seeing what is
as
unintuitive about this.
yes, 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 yes. As often. What was the full? Da- 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 da. Uh, Actually, Washington has often embraced monopoly status for chosen champions, such as Boeing. Uh, and then I should say that's actually a counterexample to the notion that these Boeings did go against the free market. So there's a lot of implicit here, but it did kill competition and it did kill
Okay.
innovation. So there's a lot of implicit steps I should have to add. But anyway, that's the argument in this piece. I mean, Lena Khan is for breaking monopolies,
Okay. Yeah, I have to look into it a little more.
but I think
Um,
it's a good example of nope, that's not true. And of course, what's happening right now with OpenAI is another such example.
right. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. This is our first live testing of this, and I'm seeing what
Yeah,
you're doing in real time on mine because of the sync process.
no, no, that's great.
So that's pretty
Plus,
cool.
you have the screen share, right?
Also watching your screen. Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep. No, no, that's a real life usability testing.
yeah. Um, so let's see. I have a bunch of things I want to work on that let's see. Where's my to-do list?
No, no, but that's progress.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. One thing that's coming up that I'm a little excited about is I guess the auto merge team is going to start looking into authorization because like right now, anyone who had that sync ID could grab it and also start editing, like screw it up or whatever. So it's like it's as soon as you are syncing, it's like security through obscurity. But the auto merge team, as I understand from one of their announcements, is going to start looking into supporting authentication as a first class citizen in their library. So we could actually, have access control on it, which would be nice. Maybe make
This is a Chrome
maybe
extension, and presumably Chrome knows my Google account. I don't know if you have access to that. It's probably not given to the extension, but don't know if it could be made easily part of the extension.
um So the way, yes. So but I'd have to build in that functionality myself. And so I'd
Huh.
like two things. One, I would actually like to support distributed auth if possible. So a person wouldn't even need to have a Chrome account. They could just say, I
Yeah,
want to create a Sophistry identity, or I want to reuse maybe an identity I'm using elsewhere, to figure out
yeah.
the details of how that's, controlled. And then they tell people like, hey, this is me. I guess people could do both, for convenience. I do use Chrome Auth actually there's a second process, which is publishing. So if you actually go to the drop down menu in the extension, and if you say publish map, it'll put this onto Sophistry. Go to publish, or no. So from the drop down, No, you were in the right drop down before, not that stuff. No, out of there. That
This
the
one?
three dots. Yeah, yeah. There should be. Oh, why does it say no?
Publish
Oh, you might
map?
have to.
No, because that's a map you published. It belongs to
Oh
you.
no. Well, no. Actually it's because you're not logged in. So if you go to options,
Ah,
below on there, if you wanted to, you could sign in with Chrome, and then it would allow you to publish it to. And it doesn't matter if
oh,
you do it or not.
oh, and you have your own sync API endpoint and sync server, so I could have my own sophistry as such.
Yeah, yeah. So you can run your own sync service if you wanted to. That way, it
Cool,
wasn't because right now I
cool.
think the way that sync server works is it actually keeps a local first copy on the server as well. I didn't see any way to get around that. Like I know everything says peer to peer, but I guess peer to peer is actually very difficult for networking
It
reasons.
is.
Like all of us are behind NATs, and us trying to actually talk to each other is very challenging.
No, no,
I
it's difficult. Peer to
Yeah.
peer is hard. I think this is something the Anytype people have solved. And by the way, the Anytype business model is interesting because the UX is source available but not open source, but the sync
Mhm.
server is open source. So in theory,
What's the
you
difference
could
between
use
source available and open source?
source available, meaning it's on GitHub, but not open source in the sense that you don't have license to uh, use it to
Mm,
build your own products. To build, you don't have
gotcha.
license to build on it. You can
Yeah.
do pull requests. You can do, you can have a private version of your custom thing, but it's not. You don't have permission to build on it. They
Mhm.
want to control that. But the sync server is open source, and that's great because a lot of the theory of syncing is handled by the sync server. So you've
Mhm.
got a big piece of complex machinery that's open source.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now I see more
Cool.
and more people, by the way, interested in building sync things over either at protocol, the Blue Sky protocol, and I'm beginning to
Mhm.
see, many people building new services that have nothing to do with Blue Sky, but built on the at protocol. Like
Yeah,
there's
I
a
was
kind
interested in that, but I had trouble finding out if you could use things like structured data as opposed to, sort of Twitter style data
you
models.
can,
Did you?
you
You
definitely can.
can?
Like right now, somebody is building an Instagram clone on at protocol at proto.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Okay.
cool. It's happening. It's
Yeah.
there's a
Do
big
you know how
yeah.
to find that Instagram tool? Because I'd like to see examples of people doing that so I kind of
I
understand
understand
it.
perfectly. Uh, Proto Instagram clone. There's a Reddit clone on at protocol. Look at oh the this one is from Blue Sky. Interesting. And that Proto inst. Oh, okay, no. Okay, I misread. Chuk. Reddit clone at Proto. Ah, it's called pixelfed
Excel. Oh, a federation.
.org. And the pixelfed.social has the intents from the main dev of the project.
Hmm.
And there's another
Sounds
one
cool.
that's called azsky.app. Oh
Mhm.
no, no, sorry, that's the Reddit clone. Reddit
AZ
views
Sky.
.app. So that's a
Mhm.
Reddit. And of course, this is the
What is AZ?
alternatives.
AZED, or I can't find
No,
AZ Sky. Oh, just AZ
AZ.
Sky.
Yeah, sorry, I said Z, British Z
Oh,
instead of
that. Yeah,
American.
yeah. Sorry. No, my fault.
Yeah, well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Let's see what
And
the going on here.
and of course, there's all the similar efforts based on the Fediverse, which I prefer
Okay.
because Fediverse is more open that way. But a lot of people
What
right
does that
now,
mean based on the Fediverse? Is that a particular protocol, or how do you become
it's
part
yeah,
of the Fediverse?
it's part of the what's it called again? Activity Pub.
Okay. Is that associated with a particular tool, or like why would I've
Well,
heard of ActivityPub, but where am I?
Mastodon is based on
Mastodon.
Activity.
Okay. Okay.
Mastodon is based on
Gotcha.
ActivityPub, and now there's Lemmy, which is a Reddit clone based on ActivityPub, for example.
How do you
So
spell
this
that
is
one?
Lemmy. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
all
I think
these
I've seen that one.
so there's all this tooling that is being built over these generic sync solutions.
Hmm.
It's
Um,
it's
why
yeah.
would someone prefer ActivityPub over, say, the AT protocol?
Um, I think they have pros and cons technically. AT Proto is um, is that Bentley replying? Oh, that's Culver. Uh, sorry, I was just distracted.
That's
Um,
okay.
the okay. First, clearly, ActivityPub is more. Uh, it's an open source initiative. Nobody owns it. Like AT Protocol is still owned by Blue Sky. In
Okay.
theory,
Hmm.
people are developing, like one thing, the AT protocol is well designed in that there are escape hatches, meaning if Blue Sky, the company, goes down, it should be possible to build an alternate server from the spec that could take over the Blue Sky community, which is good. So we
Hmm.
don't depend on the company thriving. The community could take over. But it's still right now only a single server, in fact. Uh, the protocol is well designed in some ways. Fediverse, nobody owns it. The protocol is older. It's got pros and cons. There's
Hmm.
different design constraints, and especially around moderation. And here I'm afraid I don't know all the details. I should be honest. I think this is
Hmm.
worth Googling differences between, but they're both federate. Well, see, AppProdo is more centralized. Fediverse is really decentralized. It's really about you can
Okay.
have as
That's
many
cool.
instances. Yeah, you can have
Can
as
the,
many
so
instances.
can the AT protocol become decentralized, or is it always based on? I thought I saw something about like different services running in a federation, right?
Right now, there's a single server. I don't know.
Hmm.
I think it should be possible for AT Proto to be decentralized. I know there's an escape hatch, but I'm not sure it's fully decentralized.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
But Fediverse is definitely decentralized
Oh,
by
yeah, before I
design.
forget, I see your browser's up. If you could go to sophistry.app, because I just want to show you what a publish looks like. Because I did publish one map that I was working on, uh, .app. Yeah, it's very basic, so it's very boring. But if you the Mike Masnick one, so
Yeah.
one problem is I need to sync collapsing because some of these details are not interesting until later. But yeah, so there's an example of like a somewhat more complicated map, but I would like it to collapse, so you don't have to see like everything all at
Uh,
once.
what I would suggest
Hmm.
is make it easy to filter out the text and
What does that
the
mean?
excerpts.
Filter out the text.
The
Oh, to filter out
excerpts
the excerpts, like to make them shorter, or what do you mean by filter out?
filter out. I mean, if an excerpt is just there to support
Right?
proposal,
Yeah.
uh, just filter it out and just go to it when
Okay.
you open the proposal. Then you can look at
Okay.
here's the excerpts that support that proposal. But they're different
Okay.
types of entities. I mean,
Right.
at
Okay.
first you want to look at the proposal, and then you look at, oh yeah, by the way, this one is supported by this excerpt, this excerpt, this excerpt.
That makes sense. Yeah, I could imagine even like a button that's like collapse all leaf excerpts.
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty much all excerpts. Yeah. Cool. Makes
that
sense.
would be my first proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, an outline view is useful. It's a
Mm-hmm.
tree. Outlines are very legible trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into bubbles and arrows or rectangles and arrows is the same. They become illegible very fast. Uh, Outlines are classic. They work.
Okay.
Uh, the other thing I'd recommend is, sorry, how would I do this? Totally different.
No, no, I
Uh,
think it's great. I'd love to hear it.
uh, and the thing about outlines, it's the collapse is very intuitive. People know how to collapse and expand an outline, right?
Hmm.
It's familiar.
Hmm.
Um, the what I may propose as if there's many sources, I'd have that kind of on the side. Like
Yeah.
this, like this is in those excerpts and those sources. So you have the sources on the side. And
Hmm.
then when you click on, oh, by the way, this one has an excerpt from this, an excerpt from that, an excerpt from this. So you'd see here are the, so you could almost have a column there where
Hmm.
when you click on a node, you'd have the excerpts from that source related to that node
Hmm.
showing up, like opening up. Or you could look at it, click on the source, and then you'd have all the excerpts, and then you'd have a kind of graying out of all the proposals except those that come from that source. So you could have a
Oh yeah.
kind of two.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Hmm.
Anyway, I'm thinking aloud, but this is what I'd
Yeah.
be tempted
Yeah,
to
no,
do.
it's great. No, it's good food for thought. Yeah, I have to think about the outline thing. I went for the map approach
Uh-huh.
to sort of try it out, but
Sure.
I agree that it gets unwieldy quickly.
Yep.
I sort of on purpose issued structured maps because I was nervous they wouldn't be flexible enough. So instead, this is like I don't, it's using the ELK uh, algorithm, if you've heard of that. It's like an
Yep.
algorithm for, laying out. It's not force directed necessarily, but like things move in relation to each other,
Yep.
whereas there are more structured layouts, but they are not as flexible. Yeah, things right now you can't move things unless you drop it on something. It creates a new connection. Then it'll like change the layout. But
Yeah.
right now,
And
everything
in
is.
this case, and sometimes it doesn't work, as in this case, because there's occlusion,
What do
right?
you mean? What doesn't work?
The what I'm saying is here there's occlusion, like this
Oh,
confuses
as
the
in like the
reading.
layout's not good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
No,
and
no
there's no
layout is
perp.
no layout is
Yeah,
perfect. I'm not criticizing your layout. I'm saying the fact that we can't change it.
right. Oh,
Uh,
yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
I
Yep.
understand perfectly you used. I find it interesting that you have what are those? Those are different arguments.
So they're supposed to be a compound. So the idea is that like the three of them together prove the thing that the box is pointing at. And the
Nice.
gray is the wrapper for the compound. And there's no ordering them. That's one of my features I would like to add because usually we think kind of first you prove that, then you prove this, and then finally prove that. Now those three together prove the thing we're pointing at. I just haven't supported order.
And horrible question.
Yeah,
What ha what happens if one of the elements of the compound is used elsewhere in another compound?
it copies it. It creates a copy. Yeah, because
Okay.
that got too
Sorry.
complicated. Yeah.
Sorry
No,
to be
that's a good
horrible.
question. No, it's a good question. There's a lot of weird edge cases that I didn't think about when I started, and I started to uncover them, and I'm positive that there's more that I don't even recognize yet.
Yeah. What I would recommend here is to have make the compound into a separate object. So you'd have the three things
Hmm.
going to the compound, so call it conjunction or whatever, and then have
Hmm.
an arrow from the compound to the compound would just be a node, an empty, like wouldn't have text, it would just be a node. And then you'd have
Oh, like so
these
the three
three
of them, so
things
above it.
are contributing to a node, and then that node
Hmm.
can point to the
I should try that. It would definitely simplify things. Because one thing that made this, that's a really good idea. Because one thing that made this very challenging was that because I was putting nodes inside nodes, it turned this into a quote unquote compound graph, which screwed up a lot of layout algorithms that otherwise might have been really nice. But if I kept it with no nested nodes, and this is a very simple form of nesting, like yeah, this is a under the hood, this is a library called Cytoscape
yeah.
and they support really complicated like subgraphs within subgraphs, but I don't really need that. I just wanted to group a couple together, but by choosing to do that, yeah, okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
And then it becomes easier to reuse an argument across conjunctions.
Hmm. Yeah, you
This
would
is
actually see it. Yeah. Hmm.
yep, this
Yeah,
feeds
cool. Let
into
me write
these
that down on my to-do list. That's one of the things to
so,
try.
again, I don't want to, this is not meant as a criticism, but how I'd have done things.
I actually greatly value your criticism because it's just been one thought process, but having yours is really enlightening, so thank you. Because that would be nice to remove that quote unquote complex. thing from Cytoscape because then I could try some other layouts that might be easier to comprehend.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I'm looking at this, even though I'm the one who created it a month ago, it looks a little spider webby.
That's the reality of these layouts. Always, always, always. Why people still use that ridiculous system is beyond me. Well, I mean, we've all done it. But yes. No, and of course I know why. It's because we don't have we the better layouts are dynamic, and we didn't have dynamic medium until recently, and we still want to be able to print the damn thing. But
Mhm,
I'm really thinking about, can we do this purely static even? But at least can we do this purely like when you go into this thing belongs in many places, it's not an outline anymore, right?
mhm. Right.
And
You
you
can't.
have you need a good way to represent graphs on a sheet of paper, and this is the best we've had. I think I have better ones, but my goodness, it's it's a bit counterproductive. Not counterproductive, but it's a thing. Anyway,
When
so
you say you have better ones, what did you mean?
the I've shown you the Kipu, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought that was cool. How's that coming along, that Kipu
I haven't had time to
design?
work on it because I need the data structure first. But after right
Yeah,
after that, I'm working on the Kipu.
cool. Hey, Jack.
Hey,
Jack joined just a few minutes ago.
we're
Well, cool.
just
Yeah, thanks
ending.
for your feedback.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, how much of it do you see? Good, good, good.
I came in rather late, but I pulled up the web page and I can stare at it, and um,
Good.
so you're saying sophistry. Um,
It's a Chrome extension, so you can easily take a bit of text, drag it over. It becomes
Oh, you can't drag, but I would love to do that. You have to right click. This is so
yeah. You
helpful.
have
So let me see if you can.
so you can right click and then it gets added as a node, and then I can add a proposition and then uh, say, oh, this node actually belongs in this proposition, or actually
yeah,
supports it or whatever, and each of them has.
that's really seriously cool.
Thank you.
And yeah, all cards work brilliant. And right now it's uh, local storage, but you can download,
Well, this
export,
one's
and
actually already synced, so I'm seeing on my computer what you're doing. I already have your edits on mine
yeah,
because it's using
because
auto merge, Jack, which is this local first or CRDT library.
I
Under
figured
the
it
hood.
had to be CRDT. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I recall, sophistry uh, was built by one of the guys in CDL, wasn't it?
So you're this was so I was feeling squirrely in the fall, and I said I'm going to try a whole new approach to Howju, which is Howju had been the project I've been working on, and so I created a tool called Sophistry, which sounds like Socrates, which was Stephen's project. So yeah, I think you're
Ah,
thinking of
I,
Socrates, which was a
yeah.
lot like Howju. Stephen and I had a very similar, I think, interest as
So is
far
this
as
thing at GitHub?
yeah, yeah, yep. You can I can shoot it. I'll send it, share it in the.
I really like this a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Part of me is excited that it got to this point where it's even usable. And then I have all these other ideas, and now Mark Antoine has given me a lot more ideas. So I just shared well, I'll share it in
That's
here
what
too.
these Zooms are about.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I already gave it a star, apparently, a long time ago.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Thanks.
and I guess we
I
had our first usability session where I said, oh, I expect to do this, I expect to do this, I expect to do this.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
so
happy it worked.
I have a question. I wonder if it could be, you know how a lot of other apps have plugins. I wonder if this could become a widget for any type.
That'd be cool. I don't know anything about any type in its
Well,
system.
we started discussing it among other things. I don't see why not, but this is where any type not being open source is a problem because it doesn't have a generic widget thing. You have to put it, I mean, you could put a pull request on any type and say, hey, I have this thing. I think it's marginal enough that it's unlikely. And you'd have to have a text format, I think, because right now any type is very text formatish.
Oh
It
yeah.
should be it should be possible. I don't know if any type has embedded frames, and that's definitely something that they need a bloody pull request for. Like saying, here's a page, just embedded that as a frame. Thank you.
Mhm.
But the reality is it's a bit, and here I do have sympathy. I mean, the see, any type can have, for example, Plant UML or sorry, Mermaid or a lot of other formats, but that's because what they have is they speak to they do their sync on the text, and then they sync to something that gives the image back, and then they show the image in line. But the text is editable, and that's something you definitely should look at. Is there a syntax for your sophistry
Hmm.
that could be shared? Because that makes it easier to have the oh this. And question two is Arcdown a syntax for your thing, or is it different? Is it or is it not an Arcdown variant or an Arcdown extension?
That's Arc down.
Arcdown is a language for argument trees. It's
Arc down? Okay, interesting. I can't believe there's always new things I'm learning from this group. And you'd think after
Well, that's the
4 years.
point. There's no end of things that you get to get snagged into.
Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't seen Arcdown yet. We've discussed it before, but maybe after before you
Maybe I
come back.
have, maybe I forgot. Yeah. Let me look.
There's so
It
much stuff.
looks
I forget
similar.
stuff all the time. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
And Arcdown, there's a software that so if you could store your like distribute your stuff as Arcdown or export as Arcdown, that makes you compatible with more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look at this because I mean the export part would be simple. I guess the only question is if the how'd model of evidence supports propositions, support other propositions, and like this compound argument, if that could be converted to Argdown. I just don't know how Argdown, like how does Argdown handle like breaking down a compound argument?
I'm
Because
trying to remember.
I'm seeing a lot of like single nodes, pointing at other nodes. I'm not seeing
Compounds yet.
like,
Yes, I agree.
yeah.
Uh, entailing equivalent class supporting.
Maybe that means it needs an extension if it doesn't support it.
And so
No,
that's
that's
the thing.
exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
He does these compound nodes, and Arcdown probably doesn't know about those.
Yeah, but you need them in argument, right? Because you want to say, here's point or a sub argument. Here's another sub argument that's been proven, not argument, but like a conclusion. Here's a third conclusion, whether it's argued for or not. And if you take these three together, they all prove, or even just two together, they prove, the new point. Like it's the sort of basics of argument construction.
No, I think Arcdown can do this, by the way,
Okay.
because there's a notion, at least they accept the idea that I'm just looking at the premise conclusion structure. Premise conclusion, PCS, premise conclusion structure statements are simply statements preceded by a PCS index number in round bracket and an empty space. Da, da, da,
Hmm. I see it now.
and the same argument.
Hmm.
Inference in the premise conclusions structure can be marked simply by at least a line of at least four hyphens. So in theory, you could have more than two. In theory, is that true? Uses one, two. Oh, nice.
Can you share your screen? I just want to make sure I'm seeing the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, sure, 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 sure.
I'm on the argdown.org and I'm seeing something that looks kind of
Yeah,
like what you're talking about.
this
Okay.
this
Here
this
on
is
their
interesting
syntax.
because you have the YAML of, and the YAML include uses which ones. So this, you're saying this uses these two. So in theory, that's an open list.
Hmm, cool. All right, yeah, I'll take a look. Looks cool. Who created this? Do we know who created Argdown? Oh, I guess
Uh,
Christian Voigt. Who's that? Berlin. Hmm,
Debate Lab, Karlsruhe. That's a typo. It's Karlsruhe, of course.
Charles.
That's a famous university in Germany.
Mhm. Cool. All right, I should get back to the other pressures of
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
But this was great as usual. So thanks.
Pleasure, always. And yes, the we're yeah yeah. Let's keep posting stuff, and I'll try to be better at if there's new stuff on my side, putting it on the Discord because
Yeah, please do. I
okay.
love seeing people's updates.
Ciao,
Thank
ciao,
you,
Cool.
Carl.
Okay.
This was great.
Yeah. Yeah, my
yeah,
pleasure.
ciao.
Bye.